go. Well, hello, my friends. This is your boy, Garrett J. White, with a cracking voice going through puberty. Obviously, no, just coming off the wake of 10 days of events. I am your host here at the Date Your Wife podcast, and I am here with my beautiful wife who's waving in my background, doing a little video bomb.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Yeah, let's do this.
You ready to do this? You're taking your jacket off. I like that. Keep taking your jacket off. You doing this on purpose? You doing this on purpose, this taking the jacket off thing?
Yeah.
Do you do this because you knew today's topic was sex?
Taking it off for some
Taking
sex.
it all off for some sex. What are your thoughts about keeping your clothes on for sex?
Well, it depends. Is it QQP? Is it quickie night?
Quickie porn star night?
Is it quickie night or is it porn night?
It's porn night.
Well, obviously,
all the
comes
clothes
off.
must come off.
It all comes off.
Do you
Which
ever
is a
keep your
segue
shoes?
to what our show is about
Which
today.
our show is about sex today. We're going to
Actually,
talk
I'm
about
kinda
sex
cold.
today.
You
Now you're
turn
going to
on
put your
the-
jacket
yeah,
back
you turn on the air.
All right, well, there we go.
I wasn't trying to be sexy.
The
I was
entire
kinda hot.
sexy show is now
I'm
ended.
kinda cold.
It's now over.
I'm just a big tease.
Just a big tease. All right, listen, if you're first time here with us here on the Date Your Wife podcast, we'd like to welcome you here on the show. This is a show produced and sponsored by Wake Up Warrior.
And DKW Styling.
Stop throwing in your sponsorship. You can't throw that in right away.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
I am now
You
a
cannot do that.
sponsorship. Yes, I am. You even told me. I
You
looked
are.
at my bank account. I'm a sponsor, you asshole.
All right, so you're the sponsor too. But listen, I'm the primary sponsor.
I'm the secondary
You
sponsor.
are the secondary
we both
sponsor.
know I'm the primary
You actually are
sponsor.
when it comes to the topic of sex, you are definitely the primary sponsor.
I am the sponsor
You've
of
become
all
a
things.
much better sponsor on this topic over the past 6 weeks.
It was his birthday last week.
We're going to discuss it.
I tell you, ladies, it's 4 times a year.
4 times a year. Oh, she's
We'll
talking
go-
about
we'll go there later.
she's talking
We'll go
about
there later.
blowjobs.
No,
We'll talk
we'll
about
go
those here
there
in a little
later.
bit. All right, listen, here's the deal. This podcast itself is brought about by my wife and I as an effort to give a message to the marketplace to married individuals, particularly those in a power play situation with a man and woman who both run companies together, who are trying to figure out how to live the Warrior's way to having it all. For men out there, gentlemen, check it out at warriorbook.com. We got a guide for you. I'm going to promote that shamelessly throughout today's show. And also,
if you're a lady and you like
ladies,
clothes
and
or
you like
hair.
clothes or hair or anything else in between, you go ahead and head on over to dkwstyling.com.
Yes.
What will they find there at dkwstyling.com?
You will find amazing hair,
Amazing
life
hair
tips,
you will find. Life tips you will
life
find.
tips, hair, and clothes. That's how deep I go. Let's not go there. I know where
That's
you're
what she
going.
said.
Stop. No.
All right, so here's the deal. Every single week we have a different topic. All of this is driven by the Warriors' way to having it all, but particularly we do this show not because we are licensed therapists, not because we have gone to school about marriage and counseling.
We've gone
and
to more than
therapy.
school.
We have gone to the school
The
called
school
life.
of life.
The school of life we've gone to. That's what qualifies us to be here. I am a kickball teacher, arguably the #1 highest paid PE teacher in the entire world.
You never actually did that, though.
No, I did do that.
No, you didn't.
No, I did do
You
that.
never actually did
I
it.
actually
You
am
got your
a PE
degree
teacher.
in it,
I
but you
am
didn't
a
actually do
PE
it.
teacher. Stop discounting my past.
Just let go of that.
No.
You were never.
I
you
am
were
a
never,
PE
I know it's like a
teacher.
relatability factor for you, but you
It
were always
is.
destined to be more than a PE teacher.
I
and you
am not saying
shut
that-
up! You never made it past the degree. Like, stop
All right.
using. Stop saying you're a PE teacher.
Too much. Too much.
Too far.
Too far.
Too far?
Listen, PE teachers, they need sex too. All right, so we're going
right.
to talk about sex tonight. I've got a few people here on the live stream inside of our brother. John, what's up?
Oh.
Jeremy, what's up? Randy, what's up? Mark, what's up? Jason,
Tell
what's
them
up?
to
Alex,
listen.
what's
Tell
up?
them to
Jack,
listen when it
what's
comes
up?
out on Tuesdays.
John, you guys get to listen a
Peace.
few more minutes and then. Oh, you want me to end it right now?
Yes, tell
All
them
right.
listen
well,
on
give
Tuesday.
Give them a hint about what we're going to talk about
Guys,
tonight. We're talking about
We're talking
blowjobs.
about no.
Nope, we're not talking about blowjobs.
We're just talking about sex.
Sex.
One of our regular.
One of our regular
topics.
shows.
But you'll have to see it on Tuesday.
Have to see it on Tuesday. So for my live stream audience, bye-bye, and go ahead and check this out on Tuesday. All right, listen, so we're going to get into the topic tonight. You ready?
I'm ready.
So we change the show up every single week, and one of the things we put on the show is the topic of sex. That's our first week or our first show of the week. That's our first topic. Then we move from sex to money, and then we move from money to parenting, and then we move from parenting to communication. So it happens to be that we finished communication last week, so we're back on the topic of sexuality. All right, you ready to take an angle on this?
Sure.
You sure?
I'm always ready.
Positive.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I have noticed a tendency in you the past couple months.
You're not even going to be able to keep it straight.
Not
on
even
this
going to be able to
show.
keep it straight. It's definitely going off the cliff today. But
going off the
here's the thing. I have noticed a shift in you the past few months.
It's nice. of
It
me.
is very nice. Let me ask you this. What causes a woman in marriage who's been married for a while to begin to experience what I'm simply going to call the shift?
The shift is when you realize you can get all your little heart and desires and dreams by realizing that men are actually pretty simple.
Okay, explain more about the simple life
And
inside
I
of the
think that
shift.
women are so stubborn that they realize they're really holding back in a lot of things in life by sex is like such a big tool. I have 2 men that work for me that are not straight, they're gay, and
Okay.
we always joke around and they're like, the V's an important power, or what do they say, the V's very powerful, and I'm like, it is. And it's like,
When they say V, are they referring to the vagina?
exactly.
Okay.
Because I think if women own that that's powerful, that you, not to say that we like use it, but in a way,
No, you do use it.
we do.
Okay, so why do you think
Every
it's so
woman uses it.
Every woman uses that
fucking woman
vagina.
uses it. Like I don't care who you are.
Yes, I agree.
Like it's not you think Donald Trump's wife didn't use it?
No.
She knew exactly what she was doing.
for sure used it. She's like
She
20
should
years
probably
younger than me.
continue to use it.
She is.
I don't know
continuing
if
to
she
use it.
is.
I don't know. Hopefully she is using it.
Hopefully.
So here's the thing. Why do you think women have a hard time with this idea of just accepting that
Because
having a
it's
vagina gives you power?
Because it's like you feel like it's like beneath you, maybe.
Really?
Like,
Have
yeah,
you had
kinda.
this thought?
Like you feel like there's like this story of like, oh, I will not be treated like that. I am not going to be used. I am not da da da. And like, it's not that I'm like, hey, if I have sex, then I'll get this. But it's like you come to this appreciation where you're like, hey, it's not that big of a deal, and everybody's happier.
Like, do you actually experience because this is the thing, I look at it, this hasn't been a problem around. Like I have family members who've gotten divorced over the fact their husbands look at porn, but there wasn't sex happening.
Hey,
And I hear this constantly happening over and over again. Do you have something you want to add on that?
well, I was just thinking because
Okay.
I know couples where the relationship is like the woman is like after their guy and the guy is more standoffish. Why does that happen?
These men make no sense to me. They should be buried in a box
no,
and
but do you
thrown
think
into
maybe
a fucking
are
river.
they
I
not
don't understand
comfortable
these
with
men.
themselves, or they don't like? Why does that happen?
I think there's a couple things. Number
Do
one,
you think they don't
yes.
care?
No,
Maybe
no,
they
no.
don't care.
There are some guys I believe that do not actually care.
And-
Their sex drive is very low. Their
Okay.
testosterone levels are very low. It doesn't mean they're not a man, but literally they chemically are low, and so their sex drive is down. So they don't have any desire for it. The other thing you have too is you have guys that get into guys I think get into a place, particularly guys who are overweight, tend to get into a place where they lack a lot of confidence, just like a woman
That's
would.
what I was going to go to.
They don't
but
wanna
I
be
didn't, I didn't
naked.
want to specifically say overweight, but like
Well, there's overweight guys, and they feel
say
that.
men that are not confident, and do you think they just pour themselves into work, or
I
like,
know that
what-
for sure they do. And that's why it's like, and the problem inside of Wake Up Warrior, like not in Wake Up Warrior, but inside of the men, a lot of the men that we've gotten to have conversation with, tens of thousands of men over the last 6 years. The one thing I can tell you inside of it is that it is more than a few who their body consciousness actually causes them to operate from a place of no certainty. Now, I'll give you another thing that guys
Well,
tend
can
to
you?
prep. Okay, go.
Never mind. I'm not gonna say.
You could say it. Go for it.
I'm just like trying to like envision like a big dude just like taking me in the bedroom.
And what are you feeling?
It's all about the energy, but
You
I
think
could
of energy, like you think a big guy could take you in the bedroom.
I-
If I was a big
could,
guy,
I could see it being awkward for the guy. Let's put it that way.
but if his energy was on point, do you think you
Oh
still could do
yeah,
it?
totally.
And it wouldn't even matter, really.
No.
Yeah. So that's the thing is that guys will get on themselves
Because
about
that's
their
what's
body.
funny is like here's what's funny about women. Women, even if you're a big girl, like
Yeah.
we know if we have like boobs and a butt, you know, like even if you're a big girl, like you know, like at some point that's kind of sexy, even if you're a big girl.
Well, I think it's
So you
what
can
we're
kind
getting
of
to is
use
it's an
that.
energy thing, right?
Yeah, it's totally an energy thing.
So there's guys who are super fit, shredded, but have shitty energy. And
Totally.
I was a guy super fit.
Do you
And
have shitty
honestly,
energy?
no, I had like a lot
Sometimes
of weird.
I have to take you.
I had a lot of weird energy.
Sometimes I have to take you.
I like it when you take me.
I know you
But
do.
you know why though? I think because you actually are more open to taking me than me taking you. What I say that is that like you're not open to be taken as much as you're showing
I
you
think,
want to
you know
take
what?
me.
I think that
If I grab your hair, it's very different than when you grab my hair.
I think.
All
I
right,
don't
what do you
know.
got from that?
Well, like it's interesting if we're going there.
We are going there. Let's go.
Sometimes I think girls want to be taken, but if you're gonna like just go at it, you have to, because there's times you do, but your energy is like, I'm going for it, and I'm like, wow, he's not backing down, which is like kind of hot. But then if you're like, can I take her? Can I not? It comes across like, hey babe, how are
Yeah.
you? And it's like,
Yes.
it's weird. It's not just like take you. It's because in taking somebody, I believe that there's this like sense of like, I don't really need you, but I might take you tonight. And if you come across kind of like desperate, like, hey, maybe tonight will happen, and you're just like, please let it happen, then that energy is weird. But if you kind of go in with the energy of like, you might get it tonight, but really you're thinking like, I'm totally gonna take you tonight, then you're like, oh my god, like, and I feel like that's the energy maybe I put out with you sometimes.
For sure.
Is because I'm kind of like, you're gonna get it tonight. and I literally can just like look at you and do the nod and do the wink and smile, and you're like, oh man, I'm so excited for tonight. So it's like
Yes.
the energy.
Literally,
that comes,
it's happening right now.
I know. The V is powerful, ladies. The V.
So here's the thing I'm going to talk about, though, and maybe you can help us out with this. So guys, though, in like when you're dating or when you're first together, like women tend to reject less, right? When you like, there's less rejection. But as time goes on, you've been married for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. There tends to be this. There are these patterns that get created pretty fucked up, in which a guy starts to feel rejected, or maybe the woman feels rejected. But inside of this, there's a sense of being rejected, and so there's not as much confidence coming back into the
Right.
bedroom and the conversation because they've got this wake
But
of rejection.
don't you have to have experience in order to gain confidence? Because
Experience in sex.
yes,
For
because
sure.
this is where I would say it gets kind of fucked up. If you're in a Christian-based culture, or we were raised LDS, Mormon, whatever you're going to say, it's like you don't fool around a lot before you get married. So then you get married and you're expected to know it all. And we all know after being married for a while, like it takes reps, it takes experience.
Yes.
And so you get in this pattern of like both feeling awkward, and then the wife is like kind of shutting you down, and so the guy feels like less confident, and it's like you literally have to both kind of surrender to like, holy shit, let's like redo this different together.
Do you know what I think happens here? I'm going to be straight with you. You know what I think happens in Christian, like very, very, you would see the same thing in Muslim or the same thing in Jewish cultures. I
Right.
have Muslim clients and I have Jewish clients and friends.
But they all want
And I have
that. They
Christian
all
friends.
want to like let free.
No,
but
but here's the problem. You know what I think the problem is?
What?
I'm understanding this right now.
Okay.
I think the problem is this: guys have porn, right? So what happens? Like, imagine this: you can only create from like what you have envisioned, and you can only envision based upon
so they
what you've
just
been
think
stimulated
it's
by.
always like a giant show, or
Well,
what?
well, think about this. Like, if you're a woman, and women don't tend to go to porn. I'm not saying they don't go to porn, but I'm saying most women don't tend to go to porn. Women do go to porn, but most women don't. That's not the natural tendency like a
Right.
guy would be. So if a guy's in a religion where Jewish, Muslim, Christian, very orthodox, okay, and it's been the same experience across the
It's
board
like
for
the
me.
forbidden fruit,
Right.
And so that's
you're
where they
not
go.
getting in the bedroom. So the guys go to porn, right?
Okay.
And they're being stimulated with all this content and these ideas. But they're also not getting laid a lot inside the bedroom. So then they're going to porn, but then they're getting all these ideas. But the woman is not going to porn. So she's not being given the same ideas. So this guy's like got this rising desire inside of him that's not being satisfied. Plus he's stimulating with all this new creative art in his mind, which is all these naked bodies having sex in different positions, cowgirl, reverse cowgirl, like whatever the games are happening inside of it. Like you wouldn't know about that. Like I didn't. I mean, my first marriage when I was married to Parker's mom,
didn't
I
know
didn't even
about
know what a
reverse
clitoris
cowgirl?
was. No. Did you know what reverse cowgirl was?
I mean, I got some ideas.
Yeah, but did you really know what that was? Because
I
you weren't.
I feel like I'm a creative person, and
I feel like you become more creative over the last couple of years.
Listen, here's what I've realized too. If we're talking about sex, like I got to be honest, like I don't know if I want to go there on
Here
the
it comes.
show, but
Just do it.
so
Just do it.
I just like it real traditional, like slow, like
Okay. Tell us more.
I don't feel like I want to tell you all more.
All right. So,
But no.
you like
But-
it slow
but
and predictable.
I also, you know what else I found
What?
that I like is
What?
I like bringing out that inner porn star. And oftentimes, even when I don't completely finish, I'll just say it, I have fun in the moment of like going into that role.
Yeah.
And then and that's kind of like, I'm like, oh, that was fun. But if I'm being real, like really good sex to me
Yes.
is pretty like traditional.
Pretty
and slow.
vanilla.
I'm pretty
It's slow,
I'm
it
pretty
takes a
vanilla,
while,
but you know you
45
should respect
minutes.
vanilla because
I do respect vanilla.
vanilla is
I do
cool
respect
because
it.
I'm always good with you got to respect vanilla.
I
like
respect vanilla.
classic like
You respect the vagina and vanilla.
I just you know I like it old school.
Okay. So I have noticed that there is a tendency for you to be, ever since you introduced the QQP, you've been more deliberate about the QQP.
Well, yeah, because
Like you've been more deliberate about it. Like I've noticed a more deliberate attitude around the QQP.
I just feel like when it's a Tuesday night and you can still hear the kids in the other bedroom and
Kind of hard to be a porn
and you're
star.
kind of like filling me up, and I'm like, I can't bring her out right now. I just can't. I just can't.
Kid background noise is not bringing out the porn star.
But at the same time, I realize like I don't think like men should be really like shut down. Like there's times I fall asleep because I'm like, I'm fucking tired, don't touch me, and it is what it is. And I think you respect that in me. Like you finally have gotten to this place where you're like, she's tired. I'm like, I will, but I'm so tired. And so there's times where like you'll be like, just I'm gonna let her sleep. And there's times where I'm like, all right, put in the wifey duties. The kids are screaming, but it's cool. We got to do that. And that's like the quickie nights. And it's not to say that I don't enjoy it, but I do enjoy it because the next day it brings more peace in our relationship. And so I'm like, it's cool. It's not that big of a deal.
So how did you, like literally talk about this. How did you make this shift in your own mind? Because you become very conscious about this the last like couple years.
I think, you know what?
You've become way more conscious
I'm just
about
going
it.
to address
like,
this in this show is I think there's the wifey sex guilt.
Okay, give it to us. What is this? Why I don't understand this because I'm not a wifey. So.
Okay, so women will know when they're like, oh my God, it's been a few days. I didn't do my wifey duties, and we get to this place like we have mom guilt. We have so many women just naturally like know when things are not aligned, and when things are not aligned where you're not like putting in the time and effort into certain areas in our life, we get like the mommy guilt, and so then it comes into the wifey guilt. I talk about that in all our parenting shows. Where
is
it's
the
like,
only topic sex is the wifey guilt?
Yeah, but because you're like, oh my God, and you start to feel like this wifey guilt, like it's not a big deal. We could have just had like a quickie and life would be restored tomorrow and everything's good. And so it becomes like this little bit of a wifey guilt. And there was a time where I was like, why should I feel guilty? Like I'm not being fulfilled, blah, 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 blah. And like I had this whole story. But then when I got to this place where I'm like, just have a quickie, connect, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. And then like we carry on in this like happy place in our marriage. And so for me, that's fulfilling. And so when I realized that when it's been a while and I fall asleep or whatever, I have to make a conscious effort to be like, okay, stay awake. Like wait, put the kids to bed earlier, like make an effort, because otherwise that guilt sets in of like, oh my God, but it's more of the guilt of like things are not going to be as harmonious with us.
Honestly, I think we've gotten to a point where we don't tend to. It's been a long time since we fought about the sex topic. Even when we've gone some rounds where it's been like 8, 9, 10 days.
I've been really putting on some.
I'm going to tell you, I don't know what's going on the last 2 months, but
I think I gave myself permission to like
have
fun.
You've been on it, and it's been fun as fuck. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I don't know what's happened, but whatever's happened inside of you, I need that chip to continue to roll because it's been the funnest.
Well, no, I can't spoil you too much or you'll get entitled.
I didn't say it. Well, it's not happening every day.
I know.
But it's been pretty consistent, once a week.
I like to save those for special.
You've been playing out QQP like a champion, as if it was your daily core 4. It's like, check that box. All right, so listen, here's the thing. I'm gonna back up to the guys for a second. So one of the challenges, and I found for myself too, is that you've got to get over the rejection story. This is hard. Because many of you, I get you. I understand you, right? Because I am you, right? Danielle was not always in the places she's in right now. And I was not the person that I am now back then. So like my mind wants to try to go back then and be me now, and that doesn't work. So I wasn't exactly showing up correctly back then, but I didn't know how to show up any other way than I did, and neither did Danielle. But I spent a decade being rejected. Like, we've been together 15 years married. And
not a decade.
A decade.
No.
A decade.
No.
Yes, a decade of rejection, which means you were absolutely a decade. You were absolutely okay with saying no. And you were also very much like standoffish. Like, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. Like, are you acknowledging this? Just acknowledge this.
I'm still not super, like, touchy.
But you're more touchy now, and you're open to it without the rejection. I think you become conscious about rejection causes you chaos.
Yes.
If you reject, it's worse for you. Like, and I'm talking about just like rejecting.
But you have really shown up as like a man.
Yes, I have. You're welcome.
Oh God.
All right, so but come back.
But there's also this attraction factor. Like there were so many years where
I was wearing shitty sweats and I wasn't making any money.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't even about money. It was like pity, poor me, like you owe me this, and I was like, fuck you, I don't owe you anything. And so it was this place of like, because we're married, I have to put out every night. No, like my needs are not being met. Like you don't go hang out with your guys or work or whatever, and then just come back and you don't get sex. That's not how it works. And so I was like, no.
Do you think if I had been texting you daily or like taking you on
No,
date nights every
text,
week and
maybe date nights,
and
but,
like
but
had like been like a little more into
Yes,
you and what you were up
yes.
to, that it would have been different when we first got married?
Probably, but I think because of the culture that we were raised in, it's like at a young age it's so funny, and I'm sure this happens in other cultures, but like it's like you get married and all of a sudden you put on this like serious hat and you're like, I gotta have life figured out and I gotta have all my ducks aligned and then all of a sudden you get to this place where you're like, well shit, that didn't work. And then it's this place where you're like, why did I care so much about all these little things, but yet all those little things created who you are now.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of
it's a
catch-22.
trade-off. It's a trade-off.
Listen,
so it's
I would deal with the first 10 years.
It's like we have success in life and business because of how much hustle we put in the first like 10 years, and now we're at a sweet spot where we can kind of enjoy. So not to say that didn't benefit us in some ways, you know what I mean? Because I think it forced us to like grow up really quick together.
Well, you know what
and
it did
now
for
we're
me?
just in a new phase of our relationship.
You know what it did for me? Is like I focused on work. Like the more I would feel rejected, the more I would work.
I'm sure that this is how most guys work.
So it probably actually helped out
But
with
what's
the whole
interesting,
production side.
it's so funny because I mean, I'm pretty young. I'm 35. Garrett's 42. And
We've been married 15 years. Yeah, do
and
the
people
math.
are like, oh my God, like how? I'm like, yeah, I met him at 18, got married at 20. So there you go. And it's just interesting because most people don't do that. They get married when they're like 28, 29, 30. And then so I always have felt like I'm a decade ahead of people, but it's because of the culture in which we were raised in. But then there's times where I'm like, enjoy being 35. Like, just let loose, have fun, hang out. You know what I mean? Which is probably what people go through when they're like 45. And so I'm just like experiencing life a little bit sooner.
I think a lot of what you and I are actually going through is that we're going through
But
what
most people don't
go
make it
through
out
in
of
their
that
20s.
phase. And
most
most
people go through in their 20s.
Yeah.
We were already married.
Right, but then most
So we're
people
growing
don't
up
make it out
together.
of that phase. So they go through this scary, ugly phase, and then they get married at like 40, 50, and then they go into like play mode, and it starts all over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've been at this place where I'm like, I think we kind of committed to each other, and now I'm like just having fun with you, like
Yes.
knowing that we're committed, and now I'm like, oh, this is fun. You know?
It is really fun. It's interesting. Like I'm gonna come back to the topic I was talking about with guys, which is like, so I went through like a decade. I know Danielle's finally acknowledging this. Decade of feeling rejected. I'm not saying it may be a decade of rejection. I was feeling rejected, and then I went through a couple of years of trying to figure out, okay, maybe it's not the rejection that I think. Maybe I'm fucking this up. In the last couple of years, it's been this really, really powerful game where I've recognized that what I actually wanted from my wife was not a penis and vagina experience. That was, I mean, don't get me wrong, like that is what I want.
But I think at some level it's unfulfilling.
Yeah, but what I wanted was to feel wanted. Do you know what was so amazing about my birthday? Besides the fact that there was some amazing other stuff that went down, what was really amazing was I felt wanted.
I did want you. I chose so
It was amazing.
Garrett worked all week. He had a huge event in Huntington, California, and Huntington Beach, and he kept saying I'm like, hey, I want to come down and hang out with you on your birthday because he was working. And he's like, the event's not going to get over till like 8:39. And he kept saying, no, don't come down, don't come down. Or he's like, oh, it'll be fun. And I knew he wanted to, but he felt guilty asking me to come down. And I was tired. I worked all day too, and I was like, you know what? I went home, actually had a pedicure, hung out with the kids for 20 minutes and felt like, no, I should go. And so I went down, I made the effort, and they were wrapping up the event, and he didn't know if I was going to show up or not. And he was on stage, and nobody even knew it was his birthday. And then his lead trainer, Sam, was like, oh, by the way, it's Garrett's birthday. And they were kind of singing him happy birthday and whatnot.
350 guys singing happy birthday.
And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go up. And so then I surprised him on stage. And I think that for you was like, oh my God, she wants to be here.
Yes.
And then we went to dinner. We had fun. We hung out. I spent the night at his hotel, and it was fun. So I think I did want to be there. And it's interesting when you get to that place in your relationship, and it comes over just kind of putting in the effort, and all of a sudden you're like, I actually want to be there, and our relationship has become more, and it's just a cool place to be in, and you can't let yourself drift for that long, and we let ourselves drift for so long because of the stories and just everything. And I think most people don't make it out of that, and I think because too we started young, we were like, nope, we kind of course corrected, and now we're in a pretty good spot.
I think there were probably 50 different specific situations where it was on the razor's edge. over the years of whether or not we were
I
going to
think
make
it
it
was
through
you.
that.
I always felt like I
You
was.
feel like you were always all in?
Yeah, I did.
I was the one that was on the raised edge?
I always felt like I was
Really?
just waiting for you to come along, and then you would like get to this place where like it's fucking over, and I always every time like it was never really an option for me. I'm like, no, I'm committed, and I always knew that there was like this chemistry and this spark with us in the beginning. And so when you would want to call quits, I think I was a good partner for you in the sense I was like, you fucking dickhead, like no, we're doing this. And
Agreed.
But that's just my personality. I'm like, no, if I commit, I'm gonna make it work, and we did. And I think it took both of us to kind of get to the place in which we're at.
So
We got to wrap this up.
I know, but I'm gonna wrap the idea for the guys.
Okay.
So I had all this rejection like going on for in my own head, right? And this led me to feel very, very, very weak in the bedroom. Just weak across the board. Like it was weird. Not only did I not feel wanted, but then I didn't even know how to have confidence anymore to approach the situation. So this led me to interesting patterns of masturbation. It led me to porn. It led me to drinking. It led me to a whole lot of things, just trying to figure out how can I survive in this place, because I was totally attracted to my wife, loved the shit out of her. But at the same time, when it came to sex as a topic, like I just had 10 years of beatdown training. Like I did not know how to shift. So for the guys out there that are listening to this and you're listening to the show and you get exactly what I'm talking about, if you were raised in a pretty orthodox religion and you were not married to a woman who was practiced before marriage and you were not practiced, I think on one side there's a huge advantage to having sex before you get married. And I know that's going to completely burn the ears of many of you who may be listening. You're like, oh my God, that's completely against it. I was like, but people don't measure the consequence of people who are not sexually aware at all. And they're not being trained. Like when we were raised, we were not trained. We were not taught on this. My dad's, what my dad's sex talk was before I got married? He was like, just make sure you have a cloth handy. It's kind of messy. That was my whole fucking sex talk. I'm like, that's like what I was taught. I mean, I didn't even know where clitoris was. Like these were things like as a kid, like we had no idea being raised in the cultures we were in, like what those are. And at first I thought it was just me being raised Mormon. Then I realized it was all my friends who were raised in some kind of Orthodox Christian faith. It was all my Jewish friends.
But there's a lot of good that comes out of that too.
There was a lot of good out of it. There's a lot of good.
Because
so I don't know where the line is.
Yeah, right? Where's the line? Because I'm like, you could be loosey-goosey and who knows what would happen. I believe like at a young age, if you're like 17, 18, 19, even early 20s, like having sex like crazy, doing drugs, who knows where that would go.
Well, yeah, I'm confident
and
that
so
I had some intervention.
I think you make more mature choices in your 30s if you decide to be sexually active than you would in your 20s. You know what I mean?
100%.
And so that's where the fine line is, or the fine print is it's like, yeah, that like we were raised this way. Is it a blessing? Is it a curse? And I'm not really saying it's.
I at this point, I don't know if it was a blessing or a curse. I'm just saying that either path you went on was going to create problems. So
right.
if you were promiscuous and you were hanging out, like if you had 6 different partners, 7 partners, 10 partners, like a lot of the friends you have, and even more, and guys I know who have 10, 15,
10's like
20,
the new norm.
like 10, 15, 20 different sexual partners before they got married. Like you have experience with all of this stuff, but like when you don't, you only can come from the content data you have. So anyways, get to my point here, and I'm going to wrap this show up. Here's the thing for the guys. No matter how rejected you felt, you have the power to change that story. Like you just do. You have the power to change the story. And changing the story is on you. No one else can change that story. For us, we had to go to therapy, right? And it was inside of therapy, sex therapy, that I was able to change that story. I was not able to change that story on my own. And my wife and I going to sex therapy and going to marriage therapy allowed us to be able to pull that off. Another tool I can tell you that helps is inside of us, a powerful tool known as a stack, which you can find at warriorbook.com, inside of one of our 30-day challenges known as the King's Kit. Would love to invite you as a man to join us on that program and to be part of that experience. And for ladies, listen, if you got a man that's listening to the show or your man's not listening to this show, I would encourage you to send him over to that place.
If here's the only advice I could give to ladies. Like if you're in that place where your guy's like not really being the man, I guess you could say, you kind of have to reevaluate, like, well, how can you show up and be the woman? And sometimes even the most strong women need to, like, you have to kind of surrender to what's going to benefit you and your family and your relationship. And a lot of times you'll find like, wow, that actually did serve me more than I thought. And so I think it's just important to, like, both of you have to kind of cross the line and get on the same page. And if one crosses the line, the other one will cross the line and vice versa. So it's important to just, like, commit is the first step, and then just kind of see where it goes.
Well done. Well done.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up this show. We are actually on date night. We're heading to a movie right now. Dinner's done. Massage is done. We are good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, we will come back 4 weeks from now on this show here on the sex topic. No, the sex topic.
Oh, I was like, we're
and
here
we'll talk
every
about
week.
that. We'll talk about this again, and we'll tell you how tonight's experience
Your
went.
eyes look really blue with that shirt on.
They do, don't they? They turn you on.
Okay.
All right, we're going to wrap this show up. Gentlemen, ladies, thank you so much for being here. We hope you always have a great week. Also, check this out again, warriorbook.com and the 30-day Kinks Kit. We'd love to have you as a man inside of that.
DKWstyling.com.
And you can head over to dkwstyling.com, check out more about Danielle and what she's up to. Or if you're a hairstylist listening to the show, bigmoneystylist.com. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Garrett J. White, and this is my wife, Danielle, and we are out.
Bye.